Let's take a few minutes to go over version 5.32024 and show you some of the upgrades. The product page online has a very detailed list here of all the different enhancements, and we won't go through those all with examples, but I will highlight some. First of all, the simplified and single installer is a big help. Admittedly, about 80 to 90% of the troubleshooting that we have found with not being able to obtain an image is because the 3 pieces of software were installed in the incorrect order. Now, all 3 softwares, Eagle Eye timing software, the Pylon camera driver, and the USB protection piece are all installed at the same time. And so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about your tech, yourself, or your timer installing in the wrong order. You just simply want to put it on a new machine, run the installer, and it does so automatically in the correct order. So that's the first thing you're going to see. And then there's all sorts of Windows protocols and things that we've had to include because Windows does change and your software has to keep pace. And so there's a lot of things that have been added behind the scenes that will help you. But let's go through this quick list here. There's a trigger connection alert. I want to go through that and show you that. There is auto image sizing, auto frame rate, auto exposure settings. And what those do automatically is when you open up the software and you have an image, it's going to adjust your exposure settings for the lighting conditions. It's going to adjust your frame rate for the lighting conditions automatically. And of course, you can go in and tweak those, but it's going to get you close, if you will. We've enhanced the finish line tab. We've embedded instructions. Those are really handy. I'll show you those. We've simplified our drop-down list and got rid of a lot of extraneous references that you really don't need to see. We have a quick to open feature that you just simply click on the list, the erase in the list, and it automatically opens that. We have color coded some buttons for easy recall. There's a list right there on the product page, but let's jump into the software and show you some of these. The first thing you're going to notice that all the tabs over here on the right, we've got the record tab, finish line tab, the race tab, trigger tab, enhance tab, and adjustment tabs. We have taken the 2 race results and race trigger tab, the 2 things that you're going to go back and forth and use throughout a track meet, and color coded them so you can easily find where to go. And inside that, we've color coded the button that you're going to use the most. So if you want to arm your system, it just jumps out at you. And you see that. You want to go to your race trigger tab, results tab. You don't have to hunt in a black and white format. You just look for the green tabs and you can find your way pretty quickly. Now, inside of each one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tabs, you're going to see a yellow question mark. Inside of that are tips, tricks, and instructions relative to that tab. Here we have how to start a race. And we give tips and troubleshooting items related to starting a race. You want to enhance an image, click on the yellow button, and here's how to improve quality. Talks about the different settings and some tips and tricks on how to improve your image. The record tab also, every one of these, all these tabs have some tips and tricks. And that puts basically a manual right at your fingertips. It doesn't have all the detail, but it does have a lot of the things that'll get you out of trouble or give you some helpful tips along the way. Let's go ahead and show you a real nicety that you'll also enjoy. The race trigger tab. We're going to arm the system. Whoops, here's another safety feature. I got this error message because I tried to arm the race. The reason I got this message that says your wireless trigger device is not connected to the system, select the USB option in the device drop-down menu located in the race results. It's because it does not detect a trigger system. And this is a problem if you go to arm a race, the gun goes off, and you don't get a start. This is going to help save that. You're going to get alerted to the fact that you're not connected to the trigger. In the past, not connected for whatever reason, and you just didn't know it. And the race went off and you wondered what happened. Well, something might have come unplugged or you got disconnected. Now it's going to give you a warning that you're not selected. And this requires that you make a selection. And so in a moment, I'm going to plug in my trigger and we're going to see that I have to go in and actually select that or else I'm going to get that error message. Okay, I've gone ahead and connected the Series 900 trigger. We see that here in the race trigger tab and in the properties that we are connected. And this gives us the confidence that when we arm and start the race, we're going to get the start and we won't get that error message. So it forces you to confirm your connection and again gives you the error message if you're not connected. This should just be a one-time thing, but nonetheless, it gives you a warning. Once you're connected, you should stay connected. We're going to arm the system and the gun's going to go off and we're going to get the time code running, but we're also now, as a part of a new feature, going to get a successful trigger audio confirmation. We now hear it audibly so that we can continue working. We can not have to be staring at the screen, but we still have a confirmation that the race has gone off and the time code has started. And that's just another nice feature that we've added. And it's one of those features that a lot of our customers ask for, and we wanted to include with this next version. Let's look at the autosave feature that we've now got to help you not lose inadvertently some of your work inside of your races. So in the past, if you added performances, let me just show you. So I'm going to read this race. I'll do it really roughly. Okay, so we'll go 3. That's lane 1. Lane 5. Let's go to 4. And whoops. This is lane 1. Yep. Okay, so I've read 1, 2, 3, 4 athletes, and for whatever reason, I had to go and leave. I went to a different race in the directory, and I come back. In the past, that work would be gone. Here we see that it's now in order, but the 4 athletes that I read here are still in the working event. However, I have not yet saved it with the green times button. The Save Times button, which used to be a requirement to save your work. You had to finalize and save the file. Now, if you've entered anything in here and you move around throughout your directory, you'll find it there when you return. This is a huge, huge help. For example, you've read half the 3200 and you've got to go out of the race file to do something else. You come back and everything's gone, and you've got to reread all of those athletes. That's a thing of the past. You can finalize at any time, but the software auto saves your work as you move along. So you don't have to worry about inadvertently losing any of the work that you've done. So that's a huge, huge help. Let's look at a couple more features here. Let's go to the Adjustments tab. And as I mentioned earlier, we've streamlined our menus. In this tab, you just see 3 options. And each one of those options can utilize a one-shot feature. So that will get us close in the exposure and the frame rate and gain. If we have a question about how to adjust exposure, we don't really know where we should be for the current lighting conditions. By hitting the one-shot feature, we'll get very, very close. And of course, we can enter a value, or we can use the slider and customize it. But doing the one shot, clicking the one shot button will get you very, very close. Remember that exposure and frame rate are interrelated based on lighting conditions. We put them right here together so that it makes it easier. At any time, you can adjust your exposure and frame setting to improve those qualities and to enhance your images. Let's take another look at our directory reel since we're here. And in this tutorial, I just want to give you a little insight that might be helpful. Some of this is the same as the past, but you may not have heard that all of these are races that have developed throughout the track meet. The green, those listed in green, happen to be the ones open in the tray. The black are those we've already built through finalizing. And if we were to see a red name, that would mean that that's the actual recording. So the color-coded nature of this directory helps us out a little bit, and we can see we've still got some things open in the tray. At any time, we can double-click, and we will open that specific video. If we want to go in and look at a race video from a previous heat and we have a question about a reread in the 32 or something, we can just double click and it will open up for us. Also of note, we can go and right click the properties and we can edit that. Be very, very careful though. That is only, I would say, that if you selected heat 2 when you really should have been on heat 3 and you wanted to change it, you could change it there. But by changing it, you would run into a problem with integration with your meet management software. So I just give you that as a sense of what's possible, but don't recommend it unless you're a real high-end user and are comfortable making those changes. So that's in a nutshell the software 5.32024 and some of the enhancements. It's not all of them, but it gives you a good idea in this video some of the improvements that we've made. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know if you have any questions, and we're happy to keep advancing your software forward. And this is just part of that effort as an ongoing basis. Thanks again.